When was the last time you sat in silence? No music, no phone notifications, no one around, just you and your thoughts. No scrolling, no multitasking, just you sitting in that quiet space where everything slows down. In this video, I want to talk about what happens in those quiet moments. The ones where you come face to face with yourself. The ones that make you question, reflect, and sometimes even shift the way that you see your art, and your life for that matter. I'm sharing the honest truth about what it's really like to live this life. From solitude and self-doubt to marketing, money guilt, and showing up when you're not inspired. I've been wanting to make this video for some time now, and I finally got it done. I'm not going to be discussing brush techniques or color theory, and I'm not going to be talking about how to price your work or grow your audience or any of that, at least not in this video. Solitude isn't talked about enough when discussing what it really means to live as an artist. Because let's be honest, there's a whole side of this journey that exists behind the canvas, behind the curated feeds, behind the polished captions, and even behind the art itself. It's a conversation I think more artists need to have. So let's talk about it. The stress, the pressure, the hours you spend alone trying to figure out if what you're doing even matters. The truth is, being an artist can be incredibly fulfilling, but it can also be incredibly isolating. And nobody really prepares you for that. One of the biggest things no one tells you is how lonely this path can be sometimes. I mean, I spend so much time alone in my studio, just me, just my brushes and my thoughts. But for me, being introverted makes solitude just a little easier to deal with. However, there are times when I still crave human interaction. I mean, listen, look, I'm only human, right? Now I'm going to apply my second coat of gesso. Hey, listen to this. Tight as a drum. That's exactly how I like my canvases. I live alone in my home studio, and one of the things that I'm working on about myself is that I'm constantly in deep thought. I'm always in my own head, and I've always been this way. I think about my children, I think about work, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to paint. It never stops, and when I get bored, I start scrolling on my phone for hours. And before you know it, it's time for me to get ready for work the next day. This is when I really get angry at myself for letting the evening get away from me, knowing that I have only a few hours to work, especially during the work week. It's a beautiful day out today, and I figured out to get out early in the morning. Really, really nice. I have a day off from work, and I'm going to get a whole lot done today. There are times when solitude can be peaceful. It allows me to think clearly and stay focused. But there are times when it can be a little too much, like I'm trapped in my own head or something. And that silence, which usually helps me to create, starts to feel a little overwhelming. Um, my thoughts start to race, my doubts start to creep in, and the stillness and the silence turns into this weird feeling like I should be doing more or painting more. Sometimes I catch myself staring at the canvas or scrolling on my phone or just thinking. And not the helpful kind of thinking either. But I've learned even those moments, if I stay still long enough, the noise settles, and eventually the peace comes back. You also start to realize that support isn't guaranteed. You think your family and friends would be your biggest cheerleaders, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they just don't get it. They don't understand why you choose a path that's this uncertain or this slow. And honestly, that can hurt sometimes. But if you're going to keep going, you have to learn how to believe in yourself, even when no one claps. Even when the people closest to you don't fully see your vision. There have been plenty of days where I just didn't feel motivated to paint. And I'm sure most of you can relate to this. And I found that if I pick up a brush and just make a few marks, sometimes I'd find that a few hours had gone by and not even realize it. It doesn't happen like this all the time, but putting a couple of marks on the painting does help spark motivation to work when you don't feel like it. Give it a try sometime. So I'm going to take my Kemper tool and I'm going to scrape out the area that I want to sort of paint in a little bit. There's a myth that says good art sells itself. I do not know where that idea came from, but it's just not true. Good art is important, yes, but so is being visible. So is showing up and building trust and learning how to market and actually asking people to buy. You can be incredibly talented and still feel invisible if you don't know how to connect with people. For those of us that want to make a business from our art, selling and promoting doesn't come naturally to most of us, but it's a necessary part of being an artist, whether we like it or not. Now, let's talk about all the hats that we have to wear. We're not just artists. We're the assistant, we're the marketing team, the photographer, the shipping department, and the accountant. There's no one to delegate to, especially in the beginning. We're the ones editing videos, answering emails, writing captions, updating our websites, and then somehow in between all that, we're supposed to find time to actually paint. Even after I started making progress, even after I started selling my work, the self-doubt didn't just disappear. If anything, it got worse. I catch myself thinking sometimes that maybe they only bought that painting to be nice, or I'd scroll through Instagram and suddenly feel like I didn't belong in the same category as other artists. I'd wonder if I just got lucky, or worse, if I was faking it. But here's what I've come to realize. Self-doubt doesn't mean I'm failing. It means that I care. It means I'm pushing myself into new territory. And every time I keep going, every time I paint through it, I grow a little bit more. I'm not sharing this to make anyone feel discouraged. I'm saying it because it's the truth. And I think if more of us talked about the real stuff, the mental battles and the uncertainty, the quiet moments where it feels like no one sees what we're doing, then maybe fewer artists would feel like they're doing it wrong. This path isn't easy, and you may struggle, but it doesn't mean that you should quit. It's all part of the process. So if you're watching this and you've been feeling stuck or invisible or like no one gets what you're trying to do, just know you're not alone. I felt all of that, and I still do sometimes. But also know this, your work matters, your voice matters, and just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not worth it. Being an artist means choosing a life of constant growth, constant learning, constant wrestling with yourself. It's not always pretty. It's not always loud, but it's real. And that, honestly, that's the one thing no one can take from you. Thanks for watching, and God bless you all.